It's still really sad for me because I was very involved in this community, and I feel like it's a lot of loss.
We are back in Plainfield. It's a sweet, quaint, small town that was decimated by flooding 2 years ago.
I felt stripped, like scoured, like I went down the brook. It's the feeling I had. I was shattered and disoriented. I mean, I no longer had a home all of a sudden. And it took a while for it to sink in and for me to accept it.
This increased the stress and anxiety level for so many people. The possibility there could be 100 people who are traumatized by this flood.
You can hop up here. The stairs are gone, but
I would come here and cry every time I came here for like 6 months. I don't know. You wouldn't even want to come. I had to get so many things out of the house. I'd come back a mess, you know.
it only got about this high. Maybe this high. But the water went through the floorboards.
Buying a new place and starting over, it's been great. I still get sad coming here. I think about all the memories here.
All the water pooled in here, and it came all the way into here more.
There's a funny moment where like you're talking to someone who you're just meeting and you talk about your house falling. I talk about my house having fallen in the river, and it's this moment of like, they need a minute to process that. I've done a lot of processing that. The building is waiting on FEMA approval to actually be torn down, but it definitely needs to be taken down.
Yeah.
So the doors literally don't close.
That door does not close. You cannot close that door. It's a tremendous feeling of powerlessness, right? You know, like the river comes. It takes, the building is gone. There was nothing that we could have done to prepare the building ahead of time. There's nothing we can do afterwards really to build the building back. Nobody should be living here in this floodplain like it's not safe. 5 or 6 cats that died when the building went down the river. Yeah, that sort of haunts me. That hearing that like, oh my God, somebody walked out of that building minutes before it went under. Like, I'm so grateful that nobody lost their life in that, but it haunts you, yeah.
Hi! Oh my gosh! Did you see the Buddha?
I did. I saw what you did here. Very nice.
It has been both traumatic and inspiring. We had an incredible outpouring of support from the community. I made a lot of new friends. I met so many people in town.
I don't know what's going to happen to this village and the town.
When you have a town that has seen so much destruction, and for the last 2 years, it looks decrepit. Where's the recovery happening? It's just taking so long.
I mean, we just about a month ago had major debris cleaned up in the town. There was rubble, concrete, you know, rebar, sewer pipes, and that was a big relief. I've heard people say, wow, I walk by now and I feel a little bit of hope, like it looks a little bit better.
No one is ever living in this again. There's nothing you could do about that. So there are a total of 39 housing units, meaning that this had 8 housing units in it because it was an 8-unit apartment building.
So 39 units have been damaged.
And are in buyout and are likely to receive buyout at some point, meaning that they will go away from the town of Plainfield. Those buildings will be demolished.
So it's been bottlenecked,
Yeah.
and we've been just basically waiting for 2 years.
The buyouts are in limbo. The state has been extremely diligent about working through that process. They have apparently, FEMA's changed the rules multiple times, so they've had to repackage and resubmit. I'm also the town volunteer buyout coordinator because it's a small town and we all have to do a lot of things.
I do need the buyout for my life to work out, but I'm paying for storage now, and rent, and taxes, and I'm paying insurance on a house I can't live in.
We basically had a 15-year mortgage. We're 14 years in, and then we said, do over, let's have another mortgage. We need that FEMA money to close. We're in debt with this house.
So we have had 3 buyouts from 2023 that are approved. The first one of those has closed, but they were damaged in the 2023 flood and submitted a year earlier.
We can
So I mean,
go
you were
to
here
the,
last, it was all sand. Now we have all the weeds growing. At the time we saw you last, I think we were homeless, living in a friend's basement. We ended up finding a lucky place to rent, in Marshfield for our family, which was very hard to find. We ended up buying a house almost a year ago in July. So now we have 2 houses.
That flood in 24 was beyond belief.
Yeah, it's also, it was here for 140 years. That was a pretty good run, you know? And then 8 inches of rain fell on a mountain nearby, and that's it. Yeah.
This house will have to be demolished. It's not going to last. It lasted since the 1850s.
Well, this was our 4th evacuation. This brook turns into a raging torrent. We've seen trees shooting down 20 miles an hour, like just flying down, waves like this.
The water was up to here, and it seeped up under and was absorbed up into the wall insulation. And I have to keep on moving. I've moved like 7 times in the last 9 months, and I started to feel effects from the stress. I fell down the stairs, I broke my arm, I hurt my knee. I decided that was the right thing for me to do, is to build in that community. Marlborough, Vermont. I lived here for 48 years in this house, but I've been in Plainfield since I was 19, so my entire adult life. And I have to make a new community at this age in my life.
Oh, it looks placid
It's great
now.
when it's great, but when it's right.
It is terrifying. Yeah. Every time it rains, I am absolutely a nervous wreck. All the debris backed up at the Mill Street Bridge, and so it created basically a lake.
We had been through floods before that took out the garden and the yard, but none that came up to the ceiling of our basement.
Lost all of our plants, our propane tanks, our Tesla batteries, our electrical, hot water heater, just all that stuff. It's almost 2 years later, and we are still trying to finish the work.
We've applied for the buyout. I don't think we're going to accept it unless a bigger flood comes along.
My husband built this house, and he does not want to leave it. Believe me, I have tried many times to get the hell out of here.
I lived in Plainfield, lived in the Heartbreak when it fell in the river, bopped around town for a couple months after that, then settled into the apartment above the public library in town. Definitely became involved in some of the small town politics post-flood, trying to be like, okay, I lost my housing. That puts me in a position to advocate for housing in a unique way.
The only real solution is get out of the way. And that's why we're building this new neighborhood 50 feet higher in elevation. Myself and a number of other people in town, and with a lot of support from the select board and town's departments and committees, have been working on a plan to build a new neighborhood just off of Main Street that is also immediately adjacent to town water and sewer and 40 to 50 feet above the floodplain.
Which was defeated by the town, but we went ahead and formed a private development corporation.
The really hopeful thing that I have to say is, regardless of which side you're on, you care about Plainfield so much.
And we did receive $5 million of federal, $5.2 million of federal HUD money to move that forward.
A lot of people were like, I want to stay in Plainfield, but there's nowhere to go. So,
the state has a housing shortage, right? The governor is having press conferences about it every week. Well, in the meantime, we're actually moving backwards because we're losing 39 and we're going to build 20. So we're going to have at least 14 homes that will be affordable. We'll go to bid in the winter, and we will start building infrastructure next spring. Bring new tax base, bring new water and wastewater system users, and new people with safe homes out of the floodplain.
But I still get choked up talking about all the folks that supported me in the aftermath.
We were feeding somewhere close to 200 people a day in the first 2 weeks.
And people would bring us meals to our house. Yep. Volunteers would bring us meals to our house.
The kindness of people, I still am very emotionally moved by the generosity and kindness.
I hit a point where my energy was so used up that I asked for help, and that's when Peter came forward. I asked for seven volunteers, and I got 9.
Turns out Plainfield is at the confluence of 2 rivers. We have the Great Brook right here and the Winooski on the other side. Our village, because of its placement, is in a somewhat perilous position. And that's true of like every town in Vermont, because they were all built on rivers, because the mills had to be built on rivers, and the towns developed around the mills.
I know this was my 6th flood, and people may wonder, well, why didn't I leave earlier? I really love it here, and I love the brook. I kept on fixing it up, and I was kind of used to getting the basement dug out and the lawn repaired, the flowers replanted, and the last one was way beyond ever my imagination. If my driveway had washed out a little bit more, my house would have just been gone.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see you guys. I miss you so much.
Well, you have to come over and see our place.
I just picked some plums, and this was like the first time where I'm like, well, maybe I'll take a plum branch and see if I can graft it.
Right now, this is an eyesore, but also a reminder of sort of what has happened here. When it's gone and a number of the other buildings are gone, the village will feel very different.
It will be a huge relief to everyone, I think. I mean, it's very sad. It's such a sad reminder of that day.
Yeah, I would love to see this as green space.
I mean, the good news is if they take this house out, this is a nice, almost acre, we'll divert the water and have like a lake here.
Actually might help your neighbors.
Yeah.
In the long run, after the buyout, the town will own that property, and the town will tear the house down, but we'll also channelize that river so that it moves away from your house.
And I'm really hopeful for the future of the town.
That's the reason I'm doing the event next weekend, is because I want people to focus on something that's part of our shared history, that is really upbeat and involves a lot of potential joy and just, oh my God, I haven't seen you for ages kind of moments. So I'm hoping we don't have another flood. Can't guarantee anything these days.
As our weather patterns change, we're all going to have to start thinking about how to adapt and live with this changing climate. Take care, everyone.
I have to give a plug to our select board and the town officials and our grant administrator. They have been working, and our emergency coordinator, they have worked their butts off for 2 years. The town doesn't have a lot of financial resources, and they have done an incredible job.